All right, guys, everybody, we're back at the second half of this Fallout Fest episode of Smack Talk. You guys can call in via Skype or 760-512-7247 to tell us what's going on in your mind with the world of wrestling right now. You can ask us questions about anything. It doesn't matter if it's wrestling or not. We're taking your monthly mailbag questions and mixing them in with the hot tags. And we also have the Ask Him of the week. Burhan, who got last week's right?
Okay, last week's I was asking who the gentleman is that's had like many relationships in the locker room, that allegedly has dated Maria, of course, and that's CM Punk. And as a bonus, I asked you to name who the women were that he was with, including Mickie James, Lita, Beth Phoenix. Quite recently, it's been said that he's actually been with AJ Lee as well. Punk's a player. So apparently he's been with all these women. And the ones that got this right, I'll go by Designer Metal 1, of course. He said he's not sure that it's CM Punk, but I'll take that as the answer. And Awesome Piano Man got it wrong. He said it was John Cena.
I'm sure in secret John Cena.
Who he did have an issue with Mickie James, though, so we can give you that one. Then Jamie O'Halloran went Cena, not sure. Cena with one of the Bellas and AJ. Then I Curry aptly said Punk as well. And then Awesome Piano Man gave me a big shout out and thank you for mentioning his fiance. No problem, mate. I'm glad that she's making you extremely, extremely happy. Now let's go to the Ask Him. As you guys know, I'm going to ask the host a question to stump them, and then ride the Ask Him out to yourselves for you people out there in TV land. So let's start with the first one, shall we? And I'm going to make it an Undertaker question. Woo! The Undertaker had a feud with a gentleman who was a part of WCW. He was also affiliated with ECW and was known for his hardcore style. Name the person.
Mick Foley?
Can you name his persona?
Cactus Jack?
Mankind.
Try again.
Mankind?
Correct.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his persona in WCW and ECW.
No, I was naming the
WWE one. Well, all right.
Don't try to cover it. You got it wrong, Mango, okay?
And here I was thinking the answer was nails.
So what I want to do was link it into the Mick Foley question. I want to know, on an episode of Raw, Mick Foley won the WWE or WWF Championship at the time. Who did he win it from? Who was his opponent? And, for extra bonus points, how many times was he champion?
I'll put a lot of butts in seats.
There you go. And yeah, actually, for an extra bonus point.
Bonus.
Name the segment that made people switch over to WWE programming to watch it.
If you guys know the answer to that, make sure you call in via Skype or 760-512-7247. Or if you're listening to the archive version of this, go ahead and leave your comments on the YouTube description or anywhere else that you can. Send us a tweet. We'll tell you who got it wrong and who got it right next week. Or if you call in, then we'll tell you right then, of course. We're going to continue the monthly mailbag discussion. And we're going to go with one of our most frequent commenters and somebody who usually ends up guessing they ask him right. Awesome Piano Man. He sent 2 questions in. One of them being, I'm getting ideas for the honeymoon. What is your dream vacation location? I'm not a vacation guy. I don't like going sightseeing or anything. I'd rather just kind of like go there and, as horrible and boring as it sounds, I'd rather just like eat what people think is the best cheeseburger and stuff in town. So I don't really have any. The only thing I really would want to do, though, is go to Hollywood, but I pretty much would mostly want to do that for business purposes, give out my cards and everything. And for the movie geek in me, I'd like to check out where they filmed a lot of that stuff. But other than that, I don't really have a dream vacation, especially not for like the typical things that people go with. Peyton, where would you go?
The moon.
The moon. Are you talking about the normal moon or the moon from Futurama where it's got the amusement park?
Oh, both would be great.
We're sailors on the moon.
Space. You know, I could just take one of those Virgin planes up into space. That could be cool. That'd be a great honeymoon.
I'll get my own Virgin plane with blackjack and hookers. In fact, screw the hookers. In fact, screw the plane.
That they said that in a show once. I am a big fan of Disneyland. You can never go wrong with good old-fashioned Disneyland. But someplace that I have not been yet, and it's a little bit more exotic and outside of the country, is the African plains. I don't know why, but recently I've really wanted to check out the African plains. I think the Lion King is making me do it. But I want to see some giraffes. I want to see some like lions in their wild environment. I want to see like some crazy-ass monkeys and rhinoceroses. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Every time somebody mentions that joke, I immediately think of this episode of The Simpsons, one of my favorite ones, where they go to Africa, and Homer's idea behind it is this little box of cookies, and he goes, I want to do everything on the box. I want to fight Muhammad Ali, I want to shoot a lion in the face, and I want to dance with a bunch of happy zebras.
Doesn't he get it because they hold the box by the string, and the string snaps and pokes Homer in the eye?
Yeah. I love The Simpsons. Burhan, your dream vacation?
Florida. I'm a huge theme park junkie.
Burhan, let me tell you something. The theme parks are nice. Everything else around it, though.
Yeah, I hope you like alligators.
You know what? I've been there before, and I enjoyed myself wholeheartedly.
Maybe it's different because I've lived here, but yeah, I guess.
If you like alligators and old people, you'll fit in.
Miguel, what's yours?
I've got two places. One, just for a tongue-in-cheek factor, I'd probably say Amsterdam. Just, hookers and pot. But in terms of a place I've always been curious about, and maybe Burhan might have the same feeling I do, I'd like to visit England. I've always found that whole place interesting, and I'd love to visit there one day.
Well, there you go. You two should just do that house swap kind of thing.
I wouldn't do it. There's a bunch of assholes that live there.
And even worse, they're sending the assholes over here.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking asshole country.
What do you think, Wago? What's your dream vacation?
Yeah, well, I've kind of been spoilt growing up as far as getting to go and travel places. I've been to all the Canary Islands. I've done France, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain.
Okay, so I've done France. It's like Debbie does Dallas.
Wago does France.
So, as far as a place I'd like to go, just Japan because I haven't done it, and I wouldn't mind doing a Caribbean cruise.
The other question that Awesome Piano Man sent in to us, more wrestling related, who has the best outfit in WWE, and if another wrestler wore it, who would look the most outrageous? Hands down Undertaker, in my mind, for best outfit, and I'd really like to see what Mark Henry looks like in that. Another funny one I was thinking of when I was trying to think of my answer for that, try imagining Big E Langston in those booty shorts that AJ wears.
Oh.
No.
Please don't line it up.
Stop that. Stop that right now.
We know Paul is trying to imagine that because we know where his eyes are fixated.
They'll borrow Big Show's gun to make it happen.
Peyton, what do you think? Best outfit in WWE?
Well, my favorite outfit right now is AJ Lee, so it's funny that you say that. I just adore her little punk girl outfit with the torn-up shirt and the thigh-high Chuck Taylor Converses and the custom torn-up shirts and shorts. I love it, and it looks great on her. She's an adorable little lady, and I would take her outfit, and I think it would look most ridiculous on Tensai.
Ooh, that's a good one. Burhan.
I just feel really sick right now. For me, I would say I would like to take CM Punk's outfit because I think he has one of the best outfits in WWE, and just put it on someone who would look really ridiculous on, say, JBL.
I thought you were going to go with Kali.
No, because that would just make me want to vomit.
Miguel?
I'd probably say one of my favorite outfits is probably the Shields getup, the whole flak jacket thing with the boots and the black pants. I just think that whole look is just really cool. And in terms of who I think it would look ridiculous on, I I don't know. Pick 3 random divas and just put the Shields get up on them.
I'm pretty sure that outfit would look badass on anybody. I just tried to picture like Joey Ryan with it on, and even he would look like a badass with it on.
Hornswoggle?
Hornswoggle would look badass with it on. Are you kidding? Unless you wore the same
Torino.
size. Unless you wore the same size one that Roman Reigns has.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, but
I think
if you have El Torito with a mask on, or maybe Ricardo Rodriguez would look funny on with it.
I'm gonna give an honorable mention and say Fandango's get up.
Who would look funny in that, do you think?
I'll just take yours and go with JBL.
I'll tell you, the
Triple
Miz
H.
didn't look too good in it.
Wago, what are your choices?
Do you know that yellow outfit that Summer Rae wore in their first match? That was awesome. And try and imagine fucking Mark Henry wearing that. That'd be funny as hell.
Ah,
We're going to switch back to some hot tags here. A couple more quick ones, because not everything was a huge, huge deal this week. 2 little name changes that happened with our NXT people. Rick Victor and Connor O'Brien changed the C's in their names to K's for some reason. They thought it was important for Victor to be Viktor and Connor to be Konnor. I'm not sure exactly why they did this, but maybe the difference of Connor O'Brien with a K is to kind of differentiate them from Conan O'Brien. And Rick Victor, it's just, I don't know, maybe there's another guy named Rick Victor that's popping around the indies and they want to separate themselves from him. Or they just want to get something a little bit closer to, like, controlling the name. But either way, they're still the same.
Still 1994.
Because poor literacy is cool.
Yeah, are they stuck in the 90s with, like, how comic books needed to do that? Everything's got an X in it and stuff.
Honestly, though, I've heard that they're actually going even further with the name change. Instead of going as Connor O'Brien, I think he's just going to go as Connor with a K. And instead of Rick Victor, they're changing his name to just Victor for when they finally bring them up. I'm actually kind of excited because it means that they've got plans to do something with these guys, and I really think we need another gimmick tag team coming up from developmental. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with these guys. I really am. I've heard nothing but good things about them. Well, I heard good things back when it was the original Ascension. I don't know if it's if they're doing well with the new setup now, but I'm pretty keen on it.
Wago?
I don't care.
Do you care, Graham?
It's one of those things. I think it's probably copyright issues. They don't want to end up conflicting their names with other people, and it's just making sure that they have the rights to that property. It's the only reason why I could think that they're doing that. But I do agree with Miguel. I think they're going to end up pushing these two to the moon.
All right, another one that we can talk about with developmental kind of stuff. Mickie James appeared as a guest trainer at the WWE Performance Center, and now there's a lot of speculation that she's actually not only going to join back up with WWE, but that she might become one of the main trainers for even the people on the road, that she could be one of those backstage kind of situation where she helps a lot of people like Brie Bella and AJ Lee and just gives them some fine tuning and works with some of the other people that are brand new to the roster, maybe like a Summer Rae, and can work with them on a regular basis instead of just popping up every once in a while.
I could see it. She's just sitting there going, right, so the first thing you don't want to do is sleep with John Cena.
The second thing you don't want to do is be fat.
The third thing you don't want to do is join TNA, especially right now.
I don't know. If you're a diva, the first thing you want to do is sleep with John Cena. Fucking elevate your career. It's what worked for Michelle McCool with Undertaker.
Yeah, okay.
It's working for which Bella is the one that's with John Cena right now?
Hold on. And you can't say that. Michelle McCool was a champion long before she got with Undertaker. I mean, she was with Undertaker maybe with only like maybe a year before she even retired.
We don't know how long they were together. There was that many rumors swirling around until they were closer to the marriage.
He was still married.
Allow me to
married.
Yeah, but that's kind of I have to agree with
probably
Wago
why they
on this.
split up.
It just seems a bit. I'm not one to sort of go into wrestlers' personal lives and stuff, but with Mickie James, didn't she leave the company or get fired from the company because she was being a bit clingy with Cena before he got married?
We were talking about Undertaker and Michelle McCool.
Yeah, but you're inferring about the whole Mickie James thing.
I don't know. I mean, that's all really speculation. I mean, same thing here with the possibility of her returning. All we know is that she did pop up as a member of the Performance Center.
Well, I can tell you, they got a big interview with her on the front page of WWE.com.
That could be a really good indicator that something's going to end up happening then. I mean, we've seen stuff before where how many times have they been mentioning Sting lately? And everybody always goes, oh my god, that means he's going to pop up, and he never really does. But something like Mickie, hasn't been away that long, so I wouldn't put it past WWE to bring her on board.
I think it's kind of funny considering how rough of an exit she had with WWE that I don't know if she's already agreed to anything, but I don't know, it proves that WWE, man, they got some kind of pull. But between Mickie and Sara Del Rey being trainers over there at the developmental place, I think you're going to see a big crop of divas coming up that can really go in the ring. I mean, they've got they've got a lot of talent working with them in developmental. So I'm actually kind of excited if this is the case. Honestly, I think if that's going to be the case and there's a chance we could see a Sara Del Rey Mickie James match on NXT, I might just get a Hulu Plus account just so I can watch NXT on there.
You can watch NXT for free with a regular Hulu account.
Oh, you can? It's not a Hulu Plus exclusive? All right.
No.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to do that.
Just a question. What is the situation with Sara Del Rey? Is she wrestling or is she just a trainer now?
She's a trainer.
Just a trainer, I think.
She's too old.
She can still go, from what I've heard.
You never know. They might bring her on board to kind of play some bit part in the future.
Well, I think one of the reasons they brought her on in the first place is because they've got to give themselves a bit of clout with Antonio Cesaro. So, because, they're dating and stuff. But in a sense, it's fine either way. In terms of James, I don't really want to see her back, to tell you the truth. I think she's past it, in a sense. She needs to just move on now. Because the whole thing that she's done with TNA, the losing weight, the looking like a fucking stick figure, it doesn't really appeal to me. I like the Mickie that had cushion.
Maybe this is all building up to something with her country album and R-Truth's rap album.
Oh, please.
They're going to see a fusion between the two, and it's going to be the next intergender tag team that sweeps things by storm.
They could call it crap.
I don't mind
country and rap.
I don't mind them being a wrestling tag team, but dear God, the thought of them doing a country rap album. Ugh.
Hey, crap would be awesome.
Anybody have any other thoughts on Mickie James before we move on to the next topic?
Clearly no.
Nope. All right.
You want to see that tumbleweed?
Yeah.
We're going to switch back over to monthly mailbag questions, and this time these two are from John Ellis. Number 1, do you guys see the Wyatt family being similar to the Charles Manson family? Definitely. I think that's actually the main inspiration for the whole thing. Does anybody not see that?
I pretty much disagree. I'm sorry, I pretty much agree with you. So yeah.
Hey guys, did you ever think that maybe Aces and Eights might have been getting an influence from Sons of Anarchy?
No, I think that was just Eric Bischoff's biker fetish.
Oh, stop.
He loves men in biker jackets.
Yeah,
I saw every time they came out, Bischoff was just twizzing his nipples.
Yeah, that group would have happened whether or not Sons of Anarchy was on TV. Bischoff just has a fetish for bikers. I don't know. It must be something deep and sexual. But anyway.
I guess that has nothing to do with the fact that when you look at their logo, it's the exact same logo as the biker gang in Sons of Anarchy.
Coincidence.
Yeah, I mean...
Most biker shit looks the same.
But if that were the case, Peyton, it would have actually been a good idea. And it clearly hasn't been. I mean...
Well, it would have been a good idea if they did it 5 years ago when Sons of Anarchy was fresh and hot.
Bischoff has one of those shirts off South Park with the nipple flaps that come down and he's like, oh, you wanted a good storyline? I can't do that.
But
so we're all in agreement. Wyatt Family is pretty much, they took the root story of the Charles Manson situation and applied it to wrestling, which I actually think it works. The only problem is that we've had issues with execution of it.
I don't think so. I actually see more. There's too much of a country aspect for me to say Charles Manson. Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is, have any of you guys ever heard of the movie Red State?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's actually from what I've heard really good. It's like it's Kevin Smith's last movie he's done, and basically it's about a group of backwoods like country folk that have this bizarre religion, and it's about them actually capturing a bunch of people and like using them as like a sacrifice or something. It's a psychological thriller, and the vibe that I get from the Wyatts is that like some type of like backwoods, almost Westboro Baptist, if it wasn't for those guys are a little bit more modern than that. I could really see them doing that, like some type of creepy like hillbilly cult type thing.
I would agree with you, except for the way that Bray Wyatt talks. If you listen to the way Bray Wyatt talks, it's very similar to the speech style of Charles Manson. You know, he always spoke with a lot of those big words. He always used a lot of those metaphors in his speech.
Okay, I guess if that's the case, then yeah, I guess I could.
But it's all intertwined. I'm sure he's pulling influence from everything. I'm sure he checked out every single cult situation he could. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled influence from that. Who's that crazy fuck who got all those people to kill themselves when Halley's Comet came around?
Oh,
that guy.
Yeah, whatever. I just know the whole thing with like they were all wearing like Reebok shoes or Nike shoes or something like that.
Yeah,
they were British Knights.
Because for some reason, like that's gonna make a difference. So if a comet comes by and you wear sneakers, the right type of sneakers, and the right jumpsuits, and you know, that's the big fact.
Obviously, everybody knows that aliens are shoe queens.
Right. You remember that part in the Bible where they said you will only go to heaven if you wear Nike?
Thou must wear Reebok.
Maybe Wyatt's gonna start cutting promos like that. Instead of just seeing like the sheep masks in the crowd, they're gonna start selling like the jumpsuits and stuff.
My biggest problem with the Wyatts, and it's not so much the Wyatts, it's more WWE. A character like a gimmick like this, you really got to go extreme with it. You can't really pussyfoot around with it, or else it's gonna be obvious. And I just don't see WWE really pushing this gimmick as far as it needs to. I think as somewhat, maybe kinda, sorta creepy as Bray Wyatt can come off, I think he could go even further with it. I just don't see WWE pushing that in the PG era. I see them really just having kid gloves with it, and I think that's a disservice to what the potential that Wyatt character, that whole cult leader thing, could do. I mean, you could really go into some really extreme dark areas with that. I think if this were done in the Attitude Era, you'd see this character be a lot more menacing.
Well, now, can you also not look at that the other way, where the Attitude Era has ruined it by making you have expectations like that they have to go to these deep, dark places, and it can't just be at the spot that it's at, and people can't be satisfied with what they're getting now?
I think you find it needs chair shots to the head and blood everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, CCW. So why don't we just get some light tubes as well?
We have a little over a half hour left, and we got a couple more hot tags to talk about, and one more monthly mailbag question that was sent in via John Ellis.
Before we go on, are we accepting answers to the Ask Him through the chat?
Yes, we are. Does somebody have an answer?
Yep, go for it.
Yeah, Brian the Brain. He had mentioned it earlier, and I forgot to bring it up. He beat The Rock, and Tony Schiavone announced it when he sarcastically added at the end of WCW Nitro going into commercial break, "That'll put butts in seats," while giving away the Raw spoilers.
Which is actually one of our favourite sayings over here in Smark Out Moment. Correct.
There you go. Brian the Brain gets it right. Remember, guys, if you have anything that you guys want to talk about within this next half hour that we're going to run along here, 760-512-7247, or you can call in via Skype. The other question that John Ellis sent in to us, and we got to make this a pretty quick one because we could make an entire episode about it, and we actually did before, an old top rope list that we did maybe 2 months ago. What would you guys make the pay-per-view lineup between SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble? And the quick thing that I can say on my end, I had said before on that top rope list that I wanted them to bring back a lot of things as little specials on TV, kind of like what they do with Slammy Awards and Tribute to the Troops. And that would include Halloween Havoc and Bash at the Beach and all that. They actually did just mention Seasons Beatings on a WWE Classics thing, so maybe they are going to do that. My lineup would be after Extreme Rules, actually, because I needed to kind of switch stuff around like that, you either do a generic pay-per-view like Battleground, or you do a Cyber Sunday type thing where you make the whole card based off the WWE app, just to be a little bit different and break things up. You go with Money in the Bank and then SummerSlam, per usual. After that, you need a break, and you need to go with something like Payback or Backlash. Then Breaking Point. Why not? Doesn't need to be necessarily all submission matches or anything, but I like that name a whole lot. And you could use 2 pay-per-views that aren't gimmicky, because the next one, Survivor Series, where you can incorporate the War Games match, and I still maintain my biggest idea. Get rid of TLC, replace it with King of the Ring, make it so the winner of the King of the Ring tournament gets the number 30 slot in the Royal Rumble, which is the next pay-per-view after that. So if you could give a quick lineup of what you guys would do, Peyton, how would you schedule the year for pay-per-views?
I didn't get anything prepared quite like that, so on the spot answer, I think the best thing that I would do with something like that is have your big pay-per-view, SummerSlam, keep Survivor Series, and in the in-betweens, fill it in with In Your Houses and main events. Saturday night's main events, not Wednesday main events. That's a joke.
Burhan?
For me, I would literally do sort of a combination of WWE and WCW pay-per-views. Keep the big pay-per-views like Survivor Series, SummerSlam, bring back King of the Ring, and also I wouldn't mind having like a sort of holiday-themed ones as well, like Halloween Havoc. Even have War Games come back or instead of doing Night of Champions, do something like Clash of Champions, where you could have the title versus title matches, sort of like to prove who's the better person, sort of thing. Apart from that, there's not really much else I've got for you.
Way go.
I definitely would like to see a King of the Ring back at some point during this whole thing. For me, I'd like to drop some of the gimmick pay-per-views and just bring off a few cool-off ones. Obviously, after a big show like SummerSlam, you could have one of your lesser pay-per-views like No Mercy, bring that name back. Then you got your Survivor Series, then maybe bring it Armageddon back, and then finish it off with King of the Ring for the year.
Miguel?
I think they need to cut down on pay-per-views. I think, honestly, bi-monthly in terms of once every other month would probably be best in terms of being able to build these pay-per-views up as something meaningful. I'd probably go with the Royal Rumble in January, WrestleMania in March, Money in the Bank in May, because I do think that that's one of the few new pay-per-views that actually has proven to be a success. I think the last few Money in the Banks have been really good. Probably I'd move SummerSlam to July just to keep it even. I'd have the King of the Ring in September, and then Survivor Series in November. And that to me would even things out.
All right, guys, make sure you leave your comments about what your pay-per-view lineup would be, because I'm curious to see what you guys would think. Or, of course, you could call in via Skype. We're 760-512-7247.